Welcome back to the poker vlog. This is episode number 143. For this one, we're going back to Bellagio. We get into some huge all-ins and there's some big bluffs. You guys are gonna love it. Let's go ahead and get started. We're up bright and early this morning. It's 9 a.m. on the strip. I have an 8-session win streak coming into today. I'd like to keep it going, but I only have 3 hours to book a victory before I have to see a knee specialist regarding a freak wiffle ball injury that I had a few weeks ago. It's actually not a joke. It's an intense league. We hop into the 5-10 game here at Bellagio. We're in for 1,500. Let's do this. A few minutes into the session, we pick up pocket fours in the cutoff. I raise to 30. The button, who's a vlog watcher named Jason, 3 bets to 100. Okay, Jason, let's see what you got. I call for the sole purpose of set mining. We're heads up. The flop comes Jack 10-7 rainbow. We completely brick it and are done with the hand as soon as the button breathes on it. The opponent ends up checking back. Uh-oh, I see an opening to get him. This board actually smashes my typical 3-bet calling range. I could potentially have a straight, sets, top 2 pair, and top pair, top kicker hands. Once the button checks back, I imagine he's not gonna have better than 1 pair very often, but it'd be a scary board for him even if he has aces, kings, or queens. The turn is the 9 of diamonds, which is even better for my range. There are 4 to the straight out there. I should have a lot more 8s than the opponent. He should be 3-betting with almost none. Here's a look at what upswing says you're supposed to 3-bet with when you're the button and you're facing a pre-flop raise from the cutoff. You can see that there are no pure 3-bets with any hands containing an 8, and you can either 3-bet or fold Jack 8 suited and 8-6 suited. King Queen suited you can raise or fold too. Also, King Queen offsuit and pocket 9s are calls, so theoretically, I'm gonna have way more of those very strong hands than the button will. It just seems like a good spot to try and steal it from my opponent. I wanna make this decision easy for him. I bet 250. Just relax and let go of your cards. It's too early for him to do that. The button calls. Maybe he has an overpair or a flush draw or ace king or ace queen and wants to stick around for at least one more street. The river is another 7. All the hands that I just mentioned that my opponent could have are not going to like that card. I'm beating a lot of those holdings, but just in case he checked back the flop with aces, kings, or queens, I overbet once more and I make it 800. It's a huge bluff. It's risky, but it should work out a giant percentage of the time. I just hope that I'm not up against pocket jacks. That's my main concern. I only have 350 behind, so I should get jammed on or called almost immediately if the opponent has a full house or a straight. That doesn't happen. I'm relieved. In fact, quite the opposite occurs. The player tanks for a very long time. He must not be that strong. He better not call me with an overpair. Luckily, he doesn't. After over a minute and a half, he calls with something else. The player has ace-8 of hearts. It's a hand that I wasn't expecting to be up against at all. He 3-bet light and got there. Major cooler situation. Obviously, nothing at all that I could have done to lose less in that spot. RIP win streak. We're stuck a cool 1150 right off the bat, but we're playing flawless poker. After adding on, I pick up ace-king offsuit under the gun. I open to 30. The cutoff calls. The small blind 3-bets to 140. He has a short stack of 340 total. I don't want to flat and let the cutoff come in behind me. I want to go heads up with the small blind or win this without a flop. I 4-bet to 500. The cutoff has 900 total. I don't mind getting it in against him either. He folds right away, and that's followed by a snap call from the small blind. Maybe ace-king is no good. Flip over my hand. Then I'm surprised to see that the player has ace-jack offsuit. He must have seen that pocket fours hand and thought I was an absolute nutball. There's no advertising quite like showing a Hail Mary bluff attempt, especially to all of YouTube. We're a big favorite, but we're not in the clear yet. The flop is safe. We just need to avoid a jack. The turn gets us one step closer. The river is a king. It seals the victory for us. After a horrendous blunder to begin the session, we get a nice chunk back. We just need to keep our cool and everything will be fine. Next we pick up pocket jiggities and the hijack. The player on my right raises to 30. Jacks will be better than a lot of the hands that he'll be opening with. I 3-bet to 110. The button has absolutely no respect for my 3-bet. I imagine he saw the pocket fours hand earlier as well. He 4-bet jams for 260 total. After the dealer gets a count, the initial pre-flop raiser folds. I call for 150 more. I'm happy to get it all in for 26 big blinds effective. We agree to run it once. The opponent doesn't immediately flip over his cards, so I'm not sure what I need to fade, but I imagine a flop with 2 overs is not going to be good for us. The turn is the 8 of diamonds. I'm not feeling too great.
Can't win.
There's some tiny chance that I'm up against something worse. There's just not much that I'm beating. The river is a 6. Despite me saying that I can't win, the button appears to be a bit hesitant to show his hand. He eventually shows though.
It's good. King Jack.
That one hurts. At least we got it in as a favorite. Unfortunate run out for us.
Nice one.
260 total.
Right after this hand, I get a tap on the shoulder from one of the winners of a giveaway contest that I put on last April when I asked people to tag their favorite dealers. Here with Ron, dealer, all-around good guy, was suggested by many of you to be the recipient of some money that I gave away earlier on in the year. How are you doing, man?
I'm doing good.
How's YouTube going?
It's going good, actually. Very, very good.
Yeah? Are you playing? You just getting in, or are you?
Yeah, I'm just getting in. Getting the 1-3 games to start it. So.
Cool, man.
I can't play as big as him yet.
All right. Well, good luck, dude.
Thanks, Brad. Appreciate it.
This is the first time that I've seen Ron since casinos reopened, and I couldn't think of a more deserving person in the poker industry to win some extra cash. Check out his YouTube channel as well. I'll have a link down below in the description box. Back to poker, I've got pocket 10s in the small blind. It's a straddle pot. The button raises to 60. His name is Blake. He's from New Jersey, and he watches the YouTube channel. You're not really supposed to be flatting anything out of the small blind, but a lot of my edge comes from post-flop play, so I tend not to 3-bet as often as I probably should, especially from out of position. I call for 55 more. The under the gun straddler calls for 40 more. We're going 3 ways to the flop. It's queen, queen, 5 with 2 spades. It's actually better for us that the overcard to our 10s is paired. I check. The under the gun player doesn't seem too thrilled. He checks. The button bets 30. It's been a long time since I've seen a flop bet that small in relation to the size of the pot. I do some quick math, and I realize that I'm getting pretty good odds. I call. The under the gun player doesn't like getting 1,000,000 to 1. He folds. We're heads up. The turn is the jack of spades. The flush draw gets there, and we have no spade in our hand. Not particularly great. I check. The button isn't taking his foot off the gas pedal. He bets 120. I didn't flat with 10s pre-flop to fold once there's a little pressure. Also, I've learned since I was about 3 or 4, through observation backed up by empirical evidence, to never trust anyone from New Jersey. I call. Let's see how much trouble I can get myself into. The river is the 3 of diamonds. It's a complete brick. I'm hoping. I check. The button immediately checks. That's what I like to see. 10s are good. Third pair. No spade. No problem. The player much without showing. It's always nice to win a pot that you don't necessarily know is going to go your way. We're still stuck piles when we pick up king queen offsuit and the hijack. Jersey boy raises to 30. I want to play this hand, but don't want to flat and let others come in behind me for cheap. I 3-bet to 100, even though in general it should be a call or a fold. I'm stuck. What do you expect? The button calls the 100. This is the dude who got in against me with king jack offsuit. The big blind flats the 100 as well. This is the guy who beat me in the previous vlog when he rivered a deuce to make deuces full of 4s. That's right, I have multiple people in this hand who I have to get revenge against. The initial pre-flop raiser is getting great odds. He calls for 70 more. My plan to keep the field narrow didn't work out at all. We're going 4 ways to the flop. It's ace queen 3 rainbow. We have middle pair and a backdoor straight draw. Not that exciting, but if you look at the hands that I was supposed to be 3-betting with in the hijack, that range absolutely smashes this flop. I can have sets, ace queen and ace king. You can say that these opponents called a 3-bet and should have a lot of strong hands too. Sure, but they probably would have 4-bet aces or ace king, and since I have a queen, there's only one possible combo of pocket queens available and a reduced amount of ace queen combinations that I have to be worried about. There's some chance that people would fold ace queen offsuit anyway, rather than cold call with it. The big blind and middle position player check. Because I should have crushed this flop, I don't need to bet much to get others to fold. I make it 150. I imagine that I'll be up against low and medium pocket pairs that were set mining fairly often that I'll have to auto fold if they bricked. The plan goes pretty smoothly. The button folds, followed by the big blind. We just need Frankie Valli in the Four Seasons to fold. He was the initial pre-flop raiser and then was getting insane odds to call after I 3-bet and the other 2 players cold called. For that reason, he could have all kinds of aces in his range, including plenty that are weak. After some careful thought, he makes the call. He doesn't seem too thrilled though. The turn is the 6 of clubs. He shouldn't have improved the opponent unless he happens to have ace-6 suited. He checks. I 3-bet pre-flop and bet into 3 others. That shows a ton of strength. I'm going to stick to my story that I've got at least top pair, top kicker, if not 2 pair or a set. How much would I bet if I was really going for value? I settle on 320. It's going to look like I want to get called. The player not only has to be concerned about this bet, but will really have to be worried that I may bet much larger on the river if he decides to stick around. It could get costly for him if he has a 1-pair hand. As long as I'm not up against pocket 3s, ace queen, or ace 6 suited, I should be able to get this one through. Thought there was a good chance that the pocket 4s bluff would work out too, and that one obviously did not. Finally, the opponent folds. We run an elaborate play that I don't recommend trying yourself. At least our story was believable.
I did have 1 queen.
Today has been a wild ride. I've come back big, and I'm only stuck 300 now. Here I've got ace-jack suited in the small blind. Blake opens on the button to 30. Historically, he has not done well in the vlog so far. He's been caught bluffing and just got bluffed. I probably made some extra money flatting with pocket tens in a similar spot against this opponent earlier. I flat again with another strong hand that's typically a 3-bet to see if I can make some more here too. The dealer puts out king 5-5 with 2 spades. We've got the flush draw with 1 over and a backdoor straight draw. Pretty nice one for us. I check, no bet from the button. He checks back. There's a good chance that we have the best hand, and if somehow we don't, we have lots of potential anyway. The turn is the 10 of diamonds giving us a gutter. I bet 60 to either win the pot immediately or build it up in case I get called and I'm able to improve on the river. I'll frequently win without much pushback. Not this time. The button raises to 250. I make almost a pot-sized bet, and the opponent more than 4x's it. Very odd. Did he just flop a boat or quads? Did he turn a boat? If he's that strong, why would he make it so much? There are a ton of straight and flush draw possibilities out there now. Generally, you don't want to be making calls with drawing hands when boards are paired. I could be drawing dead. Seems a lot more likely that I'm up against the worst draw, and I might actually be ahead. I call for 190 more. We may need some help. The river is the 8 of hearts. We don't get it. I check. I still could be good. The button bet's 420. I'm not quite ready to let it go just yet. I'm sure many of you are wondering what we're even thinking about here. This has got to be a fold. We have ace high. Just that every draw missed. I'm either up against something incredibly strong like a boat or complete air. Both seem equally probable to me, especially considering the fact that I caught this player bluffing earlier and I beat him right after in the 3-bet pot with king queen. Maybe after me to finally get a win on the vlog. And he does. I make the light call. Blake gets the absolute maximum from me with 5-4 offsuit. He actually had it and builds back some credibility for the entire state of New Jersey. Good for him. I went with a read that didn't work out and I paid dearly for it. All of a sudden we're down 1,300 and that doctor's appointment is creeping up on us. Here I'm dealt pocket queens in the big blind. Under the gun +1 opens to 40. This is the player who 4-bet jammed and beat me earlier with king jack offsuit. We're gonna be making it more. I 3-bet to 160. The player has 985 total. I wouldn't mind getting it all in now for that price. Instead, the player flats, so we're going heads up to the flop. It's 977 rainbow. I'm glad that there are no overcards. We didn't get 4-bets, so we can rule out being up against aces or kings. I down bet to 130. Might be able to keep his ace high hands in or potentially get raised by jacks or tens. If the opponent outflopped us, that's just bad luck. I already have my mind made up for how to proceed with this hand. Cool. The player overbet jams for 825 total. Let's see if I can get the Bradley dollars back that he's been harboring. We agree to run it once. It's going to be all or nothing for us. The turn is another 9. I hope that we're not up against some random 9 that just made a boat. The river is a 10. It's a terrible card because 2 of the most likely hands that we're up against that we were beating are pocket jacks and pocket tens. Now the only hand that we're beating that would jam for value is jacks, better known around here as jiggities. And that's what we're up against. We win a huge all-in pot at the buzzer to turn a huge loss on the day after not playing disciplined into a small and manageable one. Feels like a win. We get a count just to confirm that I've got the player covered before a huge pile of chips comes our direction. Today wasn't pretty by any means, but we get out with a few small bumps and bruises rather than broken bones. Played great, no regrets that session. Lost 390. Okay, no, yeah, that one. I wish I had a couple hands back. Forced some things, tried to do some things just because they were kind of fun. I thought they'd have a decent chance of working, but they did not work, and I lost about $1,800 that I didn't have to lose. But I booked a $390 loss, which is not bad, especially considering how we started the session. Started down about 1,100, and then we were down 1,300 towards the end there after I called light with the ace high against Blake. So 390, not bad. That's it for this one, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please remember to hit the like and subscribe buttons, and then also hit the notification bell. That's kind of the most important thing these days. That way you're notified every time I put out a new video. The win streak is over. We had an 8-session win streak going, and didn't play well, and that's why it ended. But always can start a new streak. I've got some awesome videos coming up, 2 that are in the pipeline in particular, so be on the lookout for those. Hope you're all doing well, stay safe, and good luck with the tables.